On September the 11th, 2001, two hijacked planes were deliberately flown into the Twin Towers in New York, causing death and devastation. In the following days, the city's primary school children wrote about what had happened to their city. Their writings and drawings became a book.
When the school day ended, on September 11th, I went out into the yard where my mom picks me up, and she told me simply that the World Trade Center was on fire.
Jacob was 9 when he wrote his poem. Ali was 8 years old when she wrote hers.
It was just like a normal day until like sort of around lunchtime. People started getting picked up and taken home, and they told us that something was wrong with the trains.
I thought of my father, and because he's always traveling on airplanes, and at the time he was leaving Paris. I was scared for a couple of days because he never picks up his phone. So the poem basically sprung from, well, what would my father, specifically my father, say to me if he had been on a plane that had been hijacked? It's been a very long time since I wrote this poem, and the poem itself, it really still applies for me. I can remember how I felt when I wrote it. At the end of my story, at the end of me, I shall overcome life's greatest fears. At the end of time, at the end of the minute, I will be with you always, every second. When the sun won't shine and the moon is the only light, eternity is nothing to how long I promise to stay with you. Your sky is lonely, your moonlight is a shadow behind you. Although your sunlight is bright and life goes on and on, hope is a simple thing that will show the light within.
My thoughts were that I did a lot of reflection about it. I didn't really write about my experience, but I wrote about what I thought. It was mostly like sort of an internal reflection, more of like, oh, well, I went home and then I saw the news. It was more like breaking down what my feelings were about it. People around me were talking a lot about how, oh, they hate these people hate us, and I thought it didn't really make sense to me that much. I think it was really sad that the Twin Towers fell. Osama bin Laden is the man who did this, but I think in some other place and some other time he could have been nice. We shouldn't go around hating people. It's not the way God made the world, and it doesn't make any sense. I think everybody has kindness in their hearts. Maybe he just needed some friends.
When my father goes on a trip, I don't take for granted the time that he's here. It makes me really appreciate the time I have with my parents.
I learned to be more careful of things. I learned that not to be so like naive in a way, that people can do bad things. People have the motives to do bad things and why people do those things. A lot of people think kids are apathetic towards things like this, or like kids don't know, and it's really important to show how it really does. Because I mean, like, kids are the future.